The United States in the mid-19th century was a nation of contrasts. The East Coast bustled with industry and commerce, cities thrived, connected by a growing network of railroads. But the American West remained a vast and untamed frontier. Towering mountains, scorching deserts, and endless plains presented formidable barriers. Travel between the two halves of the nation was arduous and perilous. It could take months to traverse the continent by wagon train, fraught with dangers from weather, disease, and conflict. The nation, though geographically vast, felt incredibly disconnected. This division was more than just geographical. The issue of slavery deeply divided the nation, leading to political and social tensions. The North, increasingly industrialized, relied less on enslaved labor. The South, however, remained economically dependent on the institution of slavery. This fundamental difference in ideology pushed the nation closer to the brink of civil war. Amidst this turmoil, a bold idea emerged. Could a technological marvel unite a fractured nation? The idea of a transcontinental railroad, a ribbon of steel connecting the Atlantic to the Pacific, captured the imagination of many. It was a vision of progress, a symbol of unity and ambition. Proponents argued that a railroad spanning the continent would shrink distances, facilitate trade, and bind the nation together. Goods and people could move freely from coast to coast, fostering economic growth and cultural exchange. The vast untapped resources of the West, including timber, minerals, and fertile land, could fuel the nation's expansion. The potential benefits of the Transcontinental Railroad extended beyond economics. It promised to strengthen national defense, allowing for the rapid deployment of troops and supplies in times of need. It held the allure of westward expansion, offering new opportunities for settlers and entrepreneurs. The railroad, it seemed, held the key to unlocking the full potential of the United States. However, the challenges of building such a railroad were immense. The sheer scale of the project was daunting, requiring thousands of miles of track to be laid across some of the most unforgiving terrain on Earth. The Rocky Mountains, the Sierra Nevada, and the vast deserts presented formidable obstacles. Engineering ingenuity and sheer manpower would be pushed to their limits. The financial cost of the Transcontinental Railroad was another major hurdle. Private investors were hesitant to shoulder the enormous expense, and government support was crucial. The debate over federal funding for the railroad became entangled with the political divisions of the time. The issue of slavery and the question of which route the railroad should take further complicated matters. The dream of a transcontinental railroad seemed impossible to some, but a handful of determined individuals took on the challenge. Engineers, surveyors, and dreamers conquered the American West. They battled terrain and technological limits to make it a reality. Among them was Theodore Judah, who envisioned a route through the Sierra Nevada. He meticulously charted a path through treacherous passes. His planning laid the groundwork for a historic engineering feat. While visionaries like Judah provided the blueprint, it was the sweat and toil of thousands of laborers that transformed the dream into reality. Two groups, facing their own unique hardships and prejudices, formed the backbone of this monumental workforce. The Chinese workers, arriving from a distant land with hopes for a better life, found themselves battling not only the harsh terrain, but also rampant discrimination and exploitation. Yet they persevered, their resilience and work ethic proving crucial in laying track across treacherous mountains and desolate plains. Alongside them toiled Irish immigrants, fleeing famine and poverty in their homeland, only to face similar hardships in the unforgiving expanse of the American West. These men, often working in dangerous and grueling conditions, were driven by the promise of a better future for themselves and their families. They blasted through mountains, built bridges over deep ravines, and laid track across scorching deserts, enduring back-breaking labor and facing constant danger. Their contribution, often overlooked, was nonetheless vital to the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad. The ambitious project required not only skilled engineers and tireless laborers, but also shrewd businessmen with the financial clout to back such a monumental endeavor. Enter Leland Stanford, a former governor of California and a shrewd businessman with his sights set on transforming the West. Stanford, drawn by the transformative potential of the Transcontinental Railroad, saw an opportunity not just for profit, but also for cementing his legacy as a builder of nations. He became a driving force behind the Central Pacific Railroad Company, using his political connections and business acumen to secure funding and navigate the complex web of government regulations. Stanford, despite his many accomplishments, remains a controversial figure. While lauded for his vision and leadership, he was also criticized for his ruthless business practices and his role in shaping the monopolistic practices of the railroad industry. His legacy, like that of the railroad itself, is a complex tapestry woven from threads of progress, exploitation, and the enduring ambition that characterized the era. Alongside Stanford stood a quartet of equally ambitious entrepreneurs known as the Big Four. Collis Huntington, Mark Hopkins, and Charles Crocker, along with Stanford, formed a formidable partnership that combined business acumen with political maneuvering and a relentless drive for success. These men understood that the Transcontinental Railroad was not just about laying track. It was about creating an empire. They diversified their investments, acquiring land, resources, and political influence that extended far beyond the railroad itself. The Big Four's influence reached deep into the corridors of power, shaping government policies and influencing public opinion. They understood that controlling the transportation network meant controlling the flow of goods, people, and ultimately, power itself. Their story is a testament to the intertwined nature of business and politics in the 19th century America, and the profound impact that a handful of determined individuals could have on the destiny of a nation. The dream of a transcontinental railroad was one thing. The reality was another entirely. The vast expanse of the American West was not a blank canvas upon which to draw a line of iron. It was a land of extremes, where scorching deserts gave way to towering mountains, and unforgiving blizzards could bury a work camp in a matter of hours. Nature itself seemed determined to thwart the ambitions of these would-be conquerors. The Sierra Nevada, a formidable wall of granite and ice, posed a particularly daunting challenge. Workers, clinging to precarious ledges, drilled and blasted their way through solid rock, inch by agonizing inch. Avalanches were a constant threat, and the bitter cold numbed fingers and froze supplies. Each mile of track laid felt like a victory snatched from the jaws of defeat. The scorching heat of the deserts proved equally unforgiving. Workers toiled under a relentless sun, their skins scorched, their throats parched with thirst. Supplies dwindled, and the threat of heatstroke loomed large. The elements, it seemed, were testing the limits of human endurance. The challenges went beyond the physical. The sheer scale of the project, the logistical nightmare of transporting materials and supplies across vast distances, stretched budgets to the breaking point. Mountains of iron rails, countless tons of timber, and a constant stream of tools and equipment all came at a staggering cost. The financial burden weighed heavily on the railroad companies, pushing them to the brink of ruin. The scramble for funding became a cutthroat affair. The two companies tasked with building the railroad, the Union Pacific pushing westward from Omaha, Nebraska, and the Central Pacific driving eastward from Sacramento, California, competed fiercely for government subsidies and land grants. They lobbied politicians, manipulated stock prices, and resorted to questionable accounting practices in a desperate bid to outmaneuver each other and secure the financial resources needed to keep their operations afloat. The race to complete the Transcontinental Railroad became as much a financial battle as an engineering feat. The Transcontinental Railroad project, conceived as a symbol of national unity, ironically exacerbated divisions it was meant to heal. The issue of slavery cast a long shadow over the endeavor. The South's secession settled the route debate as the federal government supported the Union Pacific. The railroad became a tool in the struggle to preserve the Union. Its completion did little to heal the wounds of war. Section 4. Tracks of Blood and Tears. The Transcontinental Railroad, for all its grandeur and ambition, was built upon a foundation of blood and tears. The human cost of this monumental endeavor was staggering. Thousands of workers, many of them immigrants from China and Ireland, toiled in harsh and dangerous conditions. They faced not only the physical challenges of the work, but also rampant discrimination, exploitation, and disease. Accidents were commonplace. Premature explosions, rock falls, and train derailments claimed countless lives. Disease, spread by poor sanitation and overcrowded living conditions, swept through work camps, leaving a trail of sickness and death in its wake. The Chinese workers in particular faced harsh treatment. They were paid less than their white counterparts, subjected to brutal working conditions, and often relegated to the most dangerous tasks. Their contributions to the Transcontinental Railroad, though significant, were often overlooked or minimized. Section 1. Triumph over the Sierra. The Sierra Nevada, a towering wall of granite and ice, was the ultimate test for the Central Pacific Railroad. Led by determined engineers and Chinese immigrants, they faced grueling and perilous work. Skeptics doubted their success, yet they persevered, proving the doubters wrong. Their triumph over the Sierra was extraordinary. Section 2. The Race Across the Plains. While the Central Pacific battled the Sierra Nevada, the Union Pacific faced the vast Great Plains. The terrain was less dramatic but vast. Hundreds of miles of track had to be laid. Workers faced heat, winds, and raids. The Union Pacific used mechanization and brute force. Irish immigrants and Civil War veterans formed massive work gangs. Equipped with steam-powered machinery, they moved with astonishing speed. The railroad tamed the Wild West. The race to lay track became an obsession. Financial incentives spurred fierce competition. Work continued around the clock. Crews labored under bonfires at night. As the two railroads drew closer, the tension mounted. Each company, determined to outdo the other, pushed their workers to the limit. Finally, on May 10th, 1869, at Promontory Summit, Utah, the two lines met. It was a moment of national celebration, a testament to American ingenuity and perseverance. The news of the Transcontinental Railroad's completion spread like wildfire across the nation, sparking celebrations in cities and towns from coast to coast. The ceremony at Promontory Summit was a grand affair, attended by dignitaries, railroad officials, and thousands of spectators. The highlight was the driving of the last spike, a ceremonial spike made of gold, into the final tie. Leland Stanford, representing the Central Pacific, took up a silver hammer and prepared to drive the spike home. However, in a moment of symbolic unity, he invited Thomas Durant, Vice President of the Union Pacific, to share in the honor. The two men, rivals in the race to build the railroad, now stood side by side, their actions signifying the joining of East and West. The driving of the Golden Spike marked the completion of the first transcontinental railroad, a technological marvel that captured the imagination of the world. The railroad connected the Atlantic to the Pacific, transforming American life and uniting the nation. The Transcontinental Railroad, a ribbon of steel stretching across the vast expanse of America, was more than just a technological marvel. It was a catalyst for profound change. The very rhythm of life, once dictated by the slow, arduous journeys by wagon train, was forever altered. The Iron Horse, as the locomotive was often called, ushered in an era of unprecedented speed and efficiency, shrinking distances, and transforming the nation's economy. The most immediate impact was felt in the realm of transportation. What was once a journey of months, fraught with danger and uncertainty, could now be accomplished in a matter of days. Pioneers and settlers, once daunted by the perilous trek westward, now boarded trains with their families and belongings, their eyes bright with hope and anticipation. The journey, once a test of human endurance, became almost routine, a testament to the transformative power of technology. The Transcontinental Railroad's impact extended far beyond the realm of transportation. It became the backbone of a burgeoning industrial economy, facilitating the movement of goods and resources on an unprecedented scale. Raw materials, once locked away in the vast interior of the continent, flowed eastward to feed the factories of the industrial heartland. Manufactured goods, in turn, made their way westward, supplying the growing populations in the newly accessible territories. The railroad fueled a period of rapid economic growth and expansion. New industries sprang up along its route, taking advantage of the efficient transportation network. Mining towns boomed as minerals, once too costly to transport, became readily available. Agricultural production soared as farmers gained access to distant markets. The railroad, it seemed, had unleashed a torrent of economic activity, transforming the nation into an industrial powerhouse. Section 3. The Rise of the West. The Transcontinental Railroad played a pivotal role in the westward expansion of the United States. It opened up vast territories for settlement and development, attracting waves of immigrants from Europe and Asia, all seeking their fortunes in the land of opportunity. The railroad became a symbol of manifest destiny, the belief that the United States was destined to stretch from coast to coast. The railroad, however, also had a profound impact on the Native American tribes who had called the West home for centuries. The influx of settlers, the encroachment of railroads, and the destruction of traditional hunting grounds led to conflict and displacement. The railroad, a symbol of progress for many, brought hardship and loss to others. Section 4. Seeds of Change and Conflict. The completion of the Transcontinental Railroad marked a turning point in American history. It had united a nation physically, connecting east to west with iron and steam. However, it also exposed and exacerbated existing social and economic divides. The rapid industrialization fueled by the railroad led to the growth of cities, attracting millions of immigrants seeking a better life. This massive influx of people, while contributing to the nation's economic growth, also created challenges. Urban centers struggled to accommodate the burgeoning populations, leading to overcrowding, poverty, and social unrest. The railroad, while a symbol of progress, also became a symbol of inequality. The immense wealth generated by the railroad industry was concentrated in the hands of a few powerful individuals, the railroad barons, who wielded their influence to shape government policies and amass even greater fortunes. Meanwhile, the workers who built and operated the railroads, often immigrants and minorities, toiled in dangerous conditions for meager wages, their voices largely unheard. Section 1. An Enduring Legacy. The Transcontinental Railroad stands as a testament to human ambition and ingenuity. It reshaped the physical landscape and the fabric of a nation. The steel arteries stitched a continent together, carrying the legacy of dreamers and laborers. Their efforts resonate in bustling cities and fertile farmlands. The railroad's environmental impact is a complex chapter. Conquering nature came at a cost. It altered ecosystems and displaced wildlife. The steam locomotive symbolized progress and pollution. Section 2. Tracks Across Time. As we stand at a crossroads in the 21st century, facing new challenges and grappling with the consequences of past choices, the story of the Transcontinental Railroad offers valuable lessons. It reminds us of the power of collective effort, the importance of visionary leadership, and the enduring human spirit that can overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles. But it also serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder that progress often comes at a price, and that the benefits of innovation are not always shared equally. The Transcontinental Railroad, a marvel of its time, continues to shape the American narrative. It stands as a symbol of innovation, ambition, and the enduring human desire to connect, to explore, and to build a better future. As we navigate the complexities of our own time, the echoes of those steam whistles and the clatter of those iron wheels across the vast expanse of America serve as a powerful reminder of both the possibilities and the responsibilities that come with shaping the course of history.